16, 17, and 18, finding the area of a triangle using trigonometry. First of all, if you remember back from geometry class, to find the area of a triangle, the area is half the base times the height. So we want to draw the height into our triangle. When we draw in the height, we want to draw it opposite the angle that they have marked. So it's going to go from here, forming a right angle with the base. And so now I have my right triangle in there, and I need to find what my height is. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use that the sine of my angle is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. The side opposite here is actually going to be my height. This side here is my hypotenuse, right? So opposite over the hypotenuse. So I would say that the sine of 39 degrees is going to equal the opposite side, which is h, over my hypotenuse, which is 5. So solving that, 5 times the sine of 39 is going to equal h. I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm not going to calculate it yet. I'm just going to throw it into my formula for area. So area is equal to 1/2 times the base. The base is the one that we drew our right angle to, so that would be our 8, times our height, which we found up here, 5 sine of 39. And then I'm going to grab my calculator and just punch that in. So 1/2, you can either use 1/2 or 0.5 times 8 times 5 sine of 39 gives me 12.5864. We want to round to the nearest hundredth, so we would say 12.59. I'm in meters. Since I'm doing area, I would then have meters squared. So 12.59 meters squared is going to be your answer. If we look at 17, once I can get to 17, it says find the area of the triangle. So on this one, if I want to draw my height in here, I'm going to draw my height, but I'm not going to be able to draw it to make a right angle here. If I was going to draw it to make my right angle with my base, I would have to draw it over here. If I drew straight. There we go. That looks closer to a right angle. So when I'm looking at this, the height of my triangle is this side here. I need to know this angle here. This is 136, so if I took 180 minus 136, I would get 44, so that angle there would be 44. So if I'm going to try to find out what my height is, again, I'm going to say that I have the opposite side over the hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse is always opposite your right angle. So I'm going to say that I'm going to do the sine of 44 equals the opposite side, which is h, over my hypotenuse, which is 14. Crazy thing is, if you do the sine of 44 or the sine of 136, you actually get the same number, but that's how this one is going to work because I have this obtuse angle. In order to get my right angle drawn down to my side, that's my base, I have to draw it out here, and so I use the 44 instead. So solving this, again, I'm just going to do 14 sine of 44 equals h. So formula for area, 1/2 times my base. My base is actually this 9. That's the side I would have drawn my right angle down to, so that's my base. Times my height, 14 sine of 44. And so using my calculator here, 0.5 times 9 times 14 sine of 44 gives me 43.7634. I want to round my answer off to the nearest hundredth, so 43.76. I am in meters again, so meters squared since I'm doing area. Number number 18. This one's going to be a little bit easier to draw since I have an acute angle instead of an obtuse one. If I draw my height in there, drawing it down to my base, if I can draw a right angle in there, looks something like that. So this is going to be my height. So I'm going to say that the sine of 50 equals the opposite side, which is h, over my adjacent side, or my hypotenuse, my opposite side over my hypotenuse, which is the 6. And so I would say 6 sine of 50 equals h. So here's my opposite, here's my hypotenuse, since it's opposite of my right angle, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Formula for area, 1/2 times the base here is 7, times my height, 6 sine of 50. So 0.5 times 7 times 6 sine of 50 gives me 16.0869. Rounding that off to the nearest hundredth, then I'd have to go with 16.09. I'm in feet, so feet squared would be my label. So 16.09 feet squared would be the area of that triangle.